Hello everyone. Welcome to Earth and Life Science class. I'm Ma'am Jules, your guide in week 8 with the title Hydrometeorological and Coastal Hazards. Let us recall the lesson we took in the last session. Let us start with this definition. What do you call the natural forces that shape the physical makeup of a planet? It is called the geologic process. When we say geologic, it is the scientific study of the Earth's origin, history, and structure. And the word process refers to the series of actions. Next, what is a term given to a map that illustrates the areas exposed or prone to a particular hazard? Words are already stated in the given definition. It is known as a hazard map. Then the last term denotes a phenomenon caused by natural or human forces that threaten humans, animals, properties, and the environment. The keyword is a threat. What is the other term for threat or risk? It is called hazard. Then last time we discussed the parts of the hazard map, the title of the map, legend, symbols, north arrow, scale of the map. And we enumerate the top 10 provinces that are at risk to earthquakes and top provinces that are at risk to volcanic eruptions and at risk to landslide. We enumerate the human activities that speed up or trigger landslides. Then we recognize the government and private institutions that created hazard maps to prevent damages. So we have the PhilBox, DNR-MGB, NAMRIA, Manila Observatory. Here are the objectives of this session from the mail. Number 1, using hazard maps, identify areas prone to hazards brought about by tropical cyclones, monsoons, floods, or IPO-IPO. Describe how coastal processes result in a coastal erosion, submersion, and saltwater intrusion, and cite ways to prevent or mitigate the impact of land development, waste disposal, and construction of structures on controlled coastal processes. For objective number 1, let's start with hydrometeorological hazards. What is your understanding of hydrometeorological? Hydro means water. Meteorology is a branch of science dealing with the atmosphere and its phenomena, including weather and climate. The word phenomena is remarkable event. The term hazard, based on the previous lesson, we describe it as threat or risk. Hydrometeorological hazards are atmospheric and hydrological or oceanic processes that may cause the loss of life or injury, property damage, social and economic disruption, or environmental degradations. So examples like tropical cyclones, thunderstorms, tornado, or known as ipo-ipo, drought, and floods are shown in the slides. Tropical cyclones or bagyo are common in the Philippines because it is located along the Pacific's typhoon belt based on their geographical location. And we all know that it is also included in the Pacific Ring of Fire. The Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAG-ASA, is the government weather bureau that monitors atmospheric condition within the Philippine Area of Responsibility, or FAR. PAG-ASA records an average of 20 tropical cyclones entering the PAR every year, with about 5 being destructive. So based from the picture, here are the top 5 destructive typhoons to ever hit the country. Typhoon Haipong, 1881, was struck the northern part of the Philippines. Typhoon Yolanda in 2013. Haiyan, the international name, caused catastrophic damage throughout the island of Leyte. The tropical storm Uring, the global name was Telma, hit Leyte and Negros provinces in 1991 and dumped heavy rains that caused a massive flash flood in Ormoc City. Typhoon Bopa, or known as Pablo, struck Mindanao in 2012. Compostela Valley and Davao Oriental provinces are the hardest hit areas, and Metro Manila submerged in floods from Typhoon Angela in 1867. By the way, tropical cyclones are known in various names depending on the country where you live. In the western North Pacific around the Philippines, Japan, and China, the storms are known as typhoons, while in the North Atlantic Ocean and the eastern North Pacific, they are referred to as hurricanes. The Philippines, being a country located within the tropics, has prevalent wind called monsoons. A monsoon is a seasonal wind and rains pattern, and the word monsoon is believed to be originated from the Arabic word mousim, or known as season, via Portuguese and the Dutch monsoon. So we have here number one, amihan. Amihan, which is also known as winter, northeast monsoon. It brings cloud skies and nippy mornings during the dry season from October to late March. And then from the other reference, from November to February. So here's the region of northeast monsoon amihan. Okay? So next, the southwest monsoon. It is locally known as habagat, which occurs within June to September or May to October in the other reference. The prevailing wind in this area here is habagat, which brings heavy rains and some deadly typhoons. Next, a flood is an abnormal progressive rise in the water level of a stream that may result in overflowing by the water of the normal confines of the stream. A flood varies in size, speed of the water, and duration. Flooding in Metro Manila, according to DPWH, are caused by clogged waterways, old drainage, or trash generated due to improper waste disposal. The last is tornado, or known as IPO-IPO. IPO-IPO is a narrow, violently rotating column of air that extends from a thunderstorm to the ground. The leading cause of tornadoes is thunderstorms. True tornadoes are not common in the Philippines. They can still occur at any time of the year. Most tornadoes are found on the Great Plains of the central United States. Here are the top provinces that are at risk of the typhoon. These are the familiar places hit by the storm. 1. Cagayan, 2. Albay, 3. Ifugao, 4. Sorsogon, Ilocos Sur, Ilocos Norte, Camarines Norte, Mountain Province, Camarines Sur, Northern Samar, Catanduanes, Kalinga Apayao, Pampanga, La Union, Nueva Ecija, Pangasinan, Masbate, Tarlac, and Western Samar. Next is the top 10 flood-prone provinces. Rank 1 is Pampanga, followed by Nueva Ecija, Pangasinan, Tarlac, Maguindanao, Bulacan, Metro Manila, North Cotabato, Oriental Mindoro, Ilocos Norte. The Pampanga River Basin is the second largest drainage basin on Luzon. Frequently suffers from the severe flood events caused by monsoon, rainfall, and typhoon. For objective number 2, let us answer this learning task completely. Complete the following statements by filling in with the correct term. Choose from the following: 2025, Cagayan, Pampanga, Monsoon, Habagat, Amihan, Haipong, Yolanda, Hydrometeorological. Number 1, seasonal wind and rain pattern phenomena are referred as monsoon. In average, There are how many typhoons visited the Philippines every year? 20. Blank cloudless skies and nippy mornings during the dry season, October to late March. It is known as Amihan. In 1988, the deadliest typhoon ever hit in the Philippines is Haipong. The most flood-prone province in Philippines is Pampanga. For objective number 2, let us study the following terms. The term used in the previous topic are all marine and coastal processes. The scientific field dealing with these processes happening in our major oceans and seas is called oceanography. The coastal processes are activities or event happening in the marine environment. Coastal area, when we say coastal area, refers to the land and the sea, areas bordering the shoreline. It comprises the natural boundary between the land and the ocean. Processes are a series of action or procedure that takes place along the sea and nearby land area. The coastal processes will explain further later on. As an archipelago located in the tropics, the Philippines is particularly susceptible to coastal hazards. Coastal hazards are physical phenomena that expose the marine environment to risk property damage, loss of life, and ecological degradation. Now let us talk about the different coastal processes in detail. The answer to the following jumbled letters is all coastal processes. Let's have number 1. It refers to the alternate rising and falling of the sea due to the attraction of the earth and the moon. So, what's the word? Attraction. Another clue? The picture on the right side. It is tides. The moon's gravity pulls the ocean toward it during high tide. That is the reason for high tide in point A. Again, the reason for high tide in point A, the moon's gravity pulls the ocean toward it. Okay? And then the earth pulled slightly toward the moon, creating high tides on the opposite side of the planet of point B. Okay? So, according to one author, explained that another piece of information required for body tide prediction is the moon and the sun positions. Next, what is the term given for the animation presented in number 2? That is known as waves. Okay, for number 3, the melting of glaciers and icebergs causes this. Your hint consists of 3 words and displayed by the image. So the correct answer is sea level rise. Next. It refers to the motion of the outermost shell of the earth. The movement of the boundaries is shown in this animation. Then the last coastal process is the sea water, rising due to atmospheric conditions. 2 words implied by this animation. What is your answer? Crystal movement. This is the rising of the seawater due to atmospheric condition. Okay, look at it. What's the word? Okay, it is storm surge, explained by the animation. The coastal processes presented may result in coastal hazard. The hazards of living near the coastline include coastal erosion. It is the loss or displacement of land along the shoreline due to the action of waves, currents, tides, wind-driven water, or other impacts of storm. These are the effects of coastal erosion. Next is saltwater intrusion. The induced flow of seawater into freshwater aquifers primarily caused by groundwater development near the coast. Aquifers are an underground layer of permeable rock, gravel, sand, or silt. When we say permeable, it means allowing liquids to pass through it. Sample here, the salt water, and we have here the fresh water. Okay? In that way, the salty water may penetrate the fresh water, which is not safe for human consumption. Based on the illustration, the line of the pump well, here's the line of the pump well, near the seashore, when you pump out fresh water rapidly, okay, you lower the height of the fresh water in the aquifer, here, forming a cone of depression. Here's the cone of depression. The salt water rises every 1 foot of every depression and forms a cone of ascension. Okay, here's the term cone ascension, and then here's the movement go upward near the cone of the depression that can lead to saltwater intrusion into the fresh water. Next, submersion refers to the movement of coastal sediments from visible portion of a beach to the submerged nearshore region of the coast. Based on the presented illustration from 2, 3, the deposits from picture 1 are not visible anymore in picture 3 after the storm surge. For objective number 3, mitigation to coastal processes and hazards. Mitigation is the reduction of the harmful effects of coastal processes and hazard. One is a seawall. Seawalls are used to counteract waves that hit the shores. These are offshore structures that protect coasts from parallel waves. These are examples of seawalls. Okay, seawall. Another is groins or stone barriers. It intercepts the steady flow of sand, keep the particular sand from eroding. Okay, another example in La Union. Okay, still in Caba, La Union, and the other one, Aringay to Santo Tomas, La Union. The breakwater can be constructed along coasts to prevent further advancement of salt water. They act as a barrier to waves to prevent coastal erosion. Okay, here is an example of the breakwater. Beach nourishment is a method where a large amount of sand is added to the coast. Like what they did in Manila Dolomite Beach, the before, present, and soon status of the project is shown in the right image. Installation of small walls or sandbags is used to counteract waves that hit the shores. Beach dewatering involves pumping out water from the shore to prevent erosion. That is how they do the process. Construction of buildings in a safe distance from the water. The ban of mining activities. This can cause decrease in pollutants. Maintaining plant cover, this can result to improve the vegetation. The jetties prevent coastal erosion by promoting beach buildup as they trap sand. Mitigation to coastal processes and hazards, monitoring and assessment, it ensures effective management of saltwater intrusion cases. Engineering structures, regulation of laws, artificial recharge. It pumps fresh water to reservoir to prevent salt water from intruding the coast. Know where the evacuation center is and how to get there, okay? To lessen. Prepare an emergency survival kit and listen to news from any means, kahit nasan ka man, okay? Let us answer this learning task. Complete me. Complete the following statements by filling in with the correct term or phrase. So number 1, Blank refers to action taken to eliminate or reduce the long-term risk and hazard in the coastal area. It's known as mitigation. Two is a climate change phenomenon through which ocean water volume increases. Ice sheet and glaciers melt and thermal expansion occurs. That is submersion. Next, blank movement of saline water to freshwater aquifers, which can lead to degradation or contamination of groundwater, including drinking water resources. That is saltwater intrusion. Four involves pumping out water from the shores to prevent erosion. It is beach dewatering. And the last, or total prohibition of mining. Activities avoid pollution and sediments runoff. The word is ban. Okay, here's my references. Let me end this lesson with this quotation by John Kinlan. Preparedness is the only way we can combat a natural disaster. Thank you.